Hey, listen, if you want to know the fastest way to get to where you want to be in life, in business, then stay tuned for this video. I'm going to go through a success hack that not many people are talking about right now. All right, guys, so some of you might have seen the week before last, we were at the 1% Mastermind. This is Cody Askins' event. It's a more intimate group than the 8% Nation. If you guys were at 8% Nation, you know that was a lot of fun. There was a whole lot of people, a whole lot of networking. But the difference between the 1% Mastermind and 8% Nation was that we just had some real power players at the 1% Mastermind and a real opportunity to network on a more intimate level. So, I wanted to recap some of what happened at the 1% Mastermind, as well as some of my key takeaways. And this is just as much for me as it is for you, because I want to be able to look back on this weekend and know that this weekend, or this past weekend, was a weekend that changed the game for me. My team and myself had one of the best weeks that we've ever had last week. Every single agent in my office wrote a piece of business. I had a great week. I had a super successful week. I hit 100% of my daily goals for my morning routine and so on and so forth. And that's because I was fired up. I was motivated, and I couldn't wait to get back in the office on Monday. And man, that is the secret to success, is getting around big time people that are going to help you think bigger or think differently, right? Because when you start to think differently, right, it changes what you believe, maybe about yourself. It changes what you believe about the work that you're doing, or it just changes the beliefs, right? And when you change your beliefs is when you can change your habits, and when you change your habits, you start to hit your goals, right? You start to get different results. And so that certainly was one of my biggest takeaways from last week or 2 weeks ago at the 1% Mastermind. Man, it was just phenomenal networking. And so I'm going to go through kind of what we did there, as well as, like I said, some more of my key takeaways. It started off, and this was what really set the tone. This is what I really loved about this event. I've been to a few events in the past. Like I said, the last year and a half, the biggest game changer in my business has come from attending events, getting around big time people, rubbing elbows with some of the top producers across the industry, right? In Medicare, in life, in you name it. So I'll just throw out a few names. We've got Pete Fournier was there, Tyler Reese from Innovative Financial Group. We had Justin Brock, Josh Lustig, Matt Temin. Man, just so many awesome people. And I know I left a ton of you guys off. Ty James, man, I'm just going to try to go down the list. Brian Askins. Brian is an amazing guy. You get to spend some time with Brian. You definitely need to do it, because he raised some awesome children. And anybody, I'm a father, right? So anybody that does what he's done and has accomplished what he's accomplished as a father, man, that's a guy that I want to get to know. So got around Brian Askins. Man, so many people. I'm gonna keep racking my brain so I don't forget anybody. But just amazing time networking. But this is what really set the tone of the whole event. To start things off, we actually we did a pass the mic, right after Cody's keynote, which I'll talk about in a minute. We passed the mic, right? And we did introductions. And I know some of you guys might be thinking, well, that's a deal breaker for me right there. I hate talking in front of people. I hate public speaking. But it wasn't like that. It was a little bit more of an intimate, just share a couple things about yourself. Even my main guy, Sean, who I brought, who hates public speaking, he did it. He was fine. And it was really a great way to connect. So we just introduced ourselves, and we told people two things, right? We talked about two things. What are we best in the world at? So for me, I thought that I was best in the world at seeing the best in people. Like, I really think that one of my key strengths is kind of seeing through all of that, maybe we'll call it bad stuff, to see, man, this person has incredible potential, right? I'm really good at seeing the potential in people. And then the second thing we talked about was, what's a problem in your business that you're trying to solve? And I talked about the fact that, hey, my strength, seeing the best in people, it also becomes my weakness from time to time. So, I was looking to improve on recruiting, setting the right expectations, all of these things. And we heard these as kind of common themes. the most common things people talked about in that was certainly marketing, recruiting, training agents, staying motivated, keeping a good headspace, learning the business, cross-selling. We heard all kinds of things, but the coolest thing about this was just the fact that, in a room full of 50 top producing agents, we got to hear, hey, this is what my issue is, and if my strength, so like if Tyler Reese had said the problem that he was trying to solve is recruiting, and my strength is recruiting, I know right away me and Tyler can connect, and I'm going to be able to help him. Hopefully he's going to be able to help me, but we all know Tyler's not struggling with recruiting, so that's just me being facetious. But as far as that goes, it was a really cool opportunity to just kind of connect, network, get to know one another, and what we were struggling with in business, because ultimately that's what you need. You need guys in your corner, guys and girls. We had plenty of women in attendance at this event. That was really cool too. Amy was there. Amy Searcy, the fire swallower. If you were at 8% Nation, she was the one that got up on stage, swallowed that fire. I think she would agree with me that events have changed the business for her. And that just speaks to the power of getting around big time people. It causes you to think differently, like I said. And I'm going to keep going back to that because I am such a believer in these events, man. It's been a blast. It's so good to get outside of your own four walls of your office or your home office or your bedroom or wherever you're working and just get around people that are like-minded. So right after the introductions or before the introductions, Cody gave a great keynote. This was on 8 rules to 8 figures. You might have seen it. He's done a couple of videos on this, but I'm going to go through Cody's 8 rules to 8 figures and just some of the highlights, some of my takeaways, some of what I wrote down. So the first rule was start with the end in mind. This is something that I think that me personally, I get wrong a lot. Like I think about what I want to do, but I don't think about what the end looks like, right? Like my goal might be, to have one of my big goals right now is to buy a cabin, a very large cabin that can host events, right? I'm such a firm believer in events. I want a place for my family to be able to retreat to. I want a place for my team to be able to kind of retreat to. I want to personally be able to get away there, maybe get in the woods, get in the cabin, hang out, whatever. So, I'm beginning with the end in mind. So you want to certainly, look at what does this look like in 20 years from now, right? What does it look like in 10 years from now? And starting with the end in mind is going to help you focus more on your potential and where you're going. The second rule was to go get whatever you want. Go get whatever you want. And if you know Cody, he talks about buying a private jet a lot. That's a man that knows what he wants and he's going to go after it. And he doesn't give a hoot what anybody says, right? I'll keep it clean for YouTube. He doesn't care what people think about the fact that he's got huge goals. It doesn't get in his way the fact that other people might not agree with that or think that he need a plane or any of these things. He's going after it. So go get whatever it is that you want, right? If you want a home in the mountains to escape to, or if you want to take care of the next 3 generations like myself, I want to impact 3 generations of my family. So my kid, my son, my son's children, and my son's children's children. That's a goal. That's a legacy that I want to leave. So go get whatever you want and don't worry about what everyone thinks. This YouTube channel is a huge venture into that. Like I don't care what people think anymore. You can comment on this video, positive things. You can comment negative things. I'm good with either. Just comment on it. The third thing is grab everyone's attention. Right? Just literally everyone's attention. You need attention, right? Attention creates opportunity, which is going to generate income for you. Grab everyone's attention, right? It's going to help you generate more prospects, clients, leads, whatever you want to call it. Never do less, always do more. Man, I can attest to this last week. Just extremely motivated, was absolutely crushing it. Definitely didn't do less, did a lot more. The fourth was better the team, better the results. Right? Better the team, better the results. This just speaks to everything that I'm talking about in not kind of doing this alone, right? You don't want to be in business alone. It's a horrible place to be. You want to have people in your corner, and the better the team, the better the results that you're going to get. Culture is everything, man. A huge theme was culture, building a business with a phenomenal culture. Number 5 was pay to know what you don't know. Like I said, events were probably one of the biggest things that changed my business the last year and a half. Another thing that changed my business in a great way was investing in coaching. I started to pay to learn the things that I don't know faster, right? I could certainly have learned them on my own. I could certainly have failed and figured it out and failed again and figured it out and failed again. But instead, I decided to pay somebody, right? Pay a couple different coaches, honestly. I invested a large amount of money over this last year in coaching, training, self-development, just getting better, reading books, all of that stuff, because I want to learn from other people's mistakes so that I don't have to make those mistakes. Am I still going to make mistakes? Of course I am. But the best investment that you can make is in yourself. And so I'm launching some coaching programs. I'm launching some mentorships over the next coming months. If you're interested in that, get involved in that. Pay somebody to learn the things that you don't know so that you don't make the same mistakes, right? You're going to get to where you want to go faster. If you do those two things, if the only two things you take away from this video are getting to more events where you can get around big time people and paying for the knowledge that you don't currently have, those two things right there will increase your income tenfold, right? You're talking about 10x. That's how you do it. Number 6. Right? Number 5, pay to know what you don't know. Number 6, scale with speed, right? The faster you go from an idea, this is huge for me. The faster you go from an idea to execution, the better it will turn out, right? The faster you go from an idea to execution. We shot this video. We decided to do a 1% mastermind recap. We threw up some stuff and now here we are. Hopefully we get a better result because we didn't overthink it, right? We weren't thinking too deep into this. I just want to share from the heart what my experience was at the 1% mastermind. The faster you go from an idea to execution, the better it's going to turn out. So, if you're thinking about doing something or you have been thinking about doing something for a while and you're not doing it, you're overthinking it, you just need to take action, right? If it's a bad idea, you'll find out quickly. If it's a great idea, you'll also find out pretty quickly, most likely. So, scale with speed. The faster you go from an idea to execution, the better it will be. Details delay, right? Number 7, sales on autopilot. This speaks to the agency owners out there. If you have a sales team, you basically have duplicated yourself most likely. And so that has to do with sales on autopilot, role play every day, spend time training every day. My team, I know we do something similar to what Cody does. Every morning at 9 a.m. we train for 30 minutes, right? We do 15 minutes of motivational or whatever, product training we'll do. And then we'll do 15 minutes of sales training, right? From an outside source, from a third party. Having that sales on autopilot is certainly going to help you grow your business. And then the number 8 was eliminate mental barriers. We all have limiting beliefs. We all have fears. We all have doubts. It's just kind of human nature. Some of us might have less doubt than others, but no doubt about it, everyone has some doubts or fears, right? And so eliminating those mental barriers is going to allow you to overcome those limiting beliefs, like I said. So worried about what people think, a fear of spending money and not getting it back, everyone having an opinion on everything, being too worried, going back to not caring what anybody thinks. It's being too worried what people are going to think about you. Eliminating those mental barriers is certainly going to help you get to 7 figures, 6 figures, 8 figures, whatever it is you're looking for. And that was Cody's 8 rules to 8 figures. It was awesome. Pick 3 or 4 of those, work on those. You don't have to work on all 8 at a time. But my takeaway was certainly the biggest thing was details delay and not caring what people think. Those 2 things were the 2 things that I actually wrote down. I've got my notes pulled up. Those are the 2 things that I wrote down that I was going to work on personally, was just going after everything that I want. You go after what you want. Don't worry about what people think, and don't get wrapped up in the details, right? Details delay. Okay, then from there, as if it couldn't get any better, we went golfing, right? You can't beat that. So we went golfing at the Talking Stick Resort. That was awesome. Got to spend time with my buddy Nate Offert. I purposely didn't mention him earlier because I wanted to talk about the fact that he shot 83. I shot 86. He beat me by 3 strokes. It was a good time. But man, he's a good golfer. And so I love Nate. I love getting to spend time with Nate. And if you haven't been to a SWAT event, you definitely want to get to a SWAT event. I can tell you, I won't miss a SWAT event. I want to learn everything that guy knows, because he's been trained by one of the best mentors, or one of the, he's had an awesome, amazing mentor. Then we had dinner, a great opportunity to network, get around those same big time people and learn and grow and just kind of come together at dinner. Then the next day, okay, we had another keynote speaker, Coach Michael Burt himself, a phenomenal, if you've been around Coach Burt, the leading authority of activating your prey drive. If you don't know what that is, you should look up his YouTube. You should definitely tune into that activating your prey drive. He talked about activating your prey drive and kinetic energy being the idea of that kinetic energy is energy that is stored up, right? That over time can just absolutely explode, right? The mechanics of activating a prey drive. I wrote down some things. Some of my takeaways that I wrote down were that you cannot possess what you cannot give away what you don't possess, right? That's huge. Like, if you're not happy, or if you're not full of energy, you cannot energize your sales team, right? If I don't come in the morning full of energy, excited, fired up, I can't expect to give energy away to my team, to give that motivation. I can't expect to encourage my team if I myself don't feel encouraged. So you cannot give away what you don't possess. And then this was a huge one. This was really big. It's hypocritical to tell our children they can reach their potential if we're not going after our own. For me, as a new father, I've got a 2-year-old son. Man, if I'm not going after my own potential, how can I encourage my son to go after his, right? And I hope that speaks to some of you guys like it spoke to me, because my goodness, man, when I heard this, it was like a gut punch. Those times where you just feel like, oh, that hurts. Like that was what I felt. I mean, I felt, I just felt motivated to go after my potential and to not worry about what other people think again, and to really set an example for my son. So I wrote down that my kids will say, and I wrote down kids plural, right? I've only got one now, but maybe speaking in the future, my kids will say that man got up every day and he went after it with everything he had. I wrote that down. That was kind of my affirmation. It was a challenging statement, to say the least. And then the last thing that really I wrote down, the biggest takeaway was that the word decide, right? He talks about the word decide is defined as killing off, right? To kill off. And so if you want to go pro, you've got to leave, or you've got to decide to kill off your amateur desires, right? Amateurs listen to their emotions, pros do not, right? And so all of these things were very powerful for me. We finished it off with some Q&A speakers, lunch that afternoon, and then another dinner with more networking. I left there with more friends, with more people in my corner. I left there feeling encouraged and excited. Last week absolutely killed it. And this week's going to be no different. The following week's going to be no different. And I will forever be able to look back at the 1% Mastermind as a turning point, right? We all have these turning points in life. I can look back and say, hey, this weekend, something changed, man. This weekend, something clicked. I'm fired up. I'm excited. I'm motivated. I'm encouraged. I'm ready to get after it. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So if I can leave you with one last piece of advice, go to an event, get around big time people. If you're curious as to where you should get plugged in, reach out to me, comment below. Let's get connected. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you gained something from this. Our goal is to provide value in the individual under 65 health insurance space. If you did get something on this, then make sure you like and subscribe below. Be a part of what we're growing here on YouTube with Health Insurance Hustlers.